In this lesson, we're going to use C# to validate a list of zip codes. I'm going to keep the list of zip codes short just to demonstrate how valid zip codes are found. But understand, once we've developed the regular expression, then it would work with any set of valid or invalid zip codes. First of all, let's take a look at our zip codes. I've already created a file on my hard drive. So there are the zip codes. I have two valid zip codes, 72116, and a zip code +4 or zip +4 zip code, 72116-4050. Then I created two invalid zip codes, 7211 and 72116-504. So you can see that the third zip code is invalid because it's left off the fifth digit, and the last zip code is invalid because the +4 part is only +3. So now let's look at how we would write that regular expression using C#. I've already started the C# program. So I'm going to be reading a file, so I have some file code for that. Let's go back up here to the top for a second. I'll highlight the two classes that I've brought in, regular expressions and IO. IO is needed to do the file reading. So let me go over just the main program real quick, and then we'll develop the regular expression. We have a stream reader object, zip codes, which we're going to use to associate with the physical file. And that's what we do in the next line, where I call file.openText. Then I create a variable to hold each individual zip code as we read it in. We'll come back in a second and look and see how the regular expression is developed. Then I simply read through the file, reading a zip code into my variable, then matching it against my regular expression, and then every match that we find gets displayed. So that's the easy part. The hard part is, of course, developing the regular expression. So let's take a look at how we're going to do it. The first thing we know we have to do to get a valid zip code is to have the first 5 characters of the zip code be digits. And they have to come at the beginning. So we'll write a caret, and then we'll write 09. Alternatively, you could have used the \D. Let's go ahead and run this program now to see what strings it does match. So you see that all it did was match the first character. So we're not quite there. We want 5 characters, so we need to put brace 5, close brace. Now when we run the program, we get the zip codes that begin with 72116. So that's half the battle. That will get all valid 5-digit zip codes. But we also want to look for alternative zip codes that include the +4. So to do that, we're going to have to add a new feature, a parentheses, question mark, colon, which means an alternative or an alternating group. Or another way to put it is an optional group. This is going to allow us to group the next parts of the zip code together when we find them. And that means the next part of that zip code will be the dash. A zip +4 zip code has to have the dash after the first 5 digits. Next, we want to match the 4 digits that make up the +4. So we'll write that 0-9 in brackets, and then 4 in curly braces. Now at this point, we're not quite finished. We have to close this group, so we do that with another parenthesis to close the group. Then we have to make sure that the regular expression engine knows that this is optional. So to do that, we have to put a question mark at the end. And by doing that, we're saying that this whole piece right here is optional. Now, once we've done that, the last step is to make sure that we have the +4 anchored at the end of the string, so we put a $sign, and that closes out the regular expression. So let's run that now. Let me bring this into view, and you'll see that it only matched the 2 zip codes that are valid, 72116 and 72116-4050. So that is the regular expression for determining a valid zip +4 or just plain 5-digit zip code. So with that, we're going to move on to our next lesson, where we're going to look at another example using JavaScript.